right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Just checking to make sure that I am live. I am going live on multiple platforms this evening. So I want to make sure that everybody can see me. Give me one moment. All right. If you are viewing, if you could go ahead and just press one so that I know you hear me. Tell me where you're viewing from. One so that I know you hear me. Tell me where you're. All right. So I see that the sound is working. All right. 1 second. All right. So if you guys are viewing me, can you just put something in the comments so that I know you can hear me? And we can get started. I'm not going to be on here very long, but I do have some very important information for you. Okay. All right. One moment. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you guys can go ahead and just let me know that you can hear me. And 1 minute. All right. Sorry about this, guys. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Like I said, we're not going to be on here very long. 1 moment. I'm trying to go live on multiple platforms and I'm trying to do 50 million things at one time. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Now we're cooking. All right. So I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Tiffany Murphy. I am an income tax and accounting specialist, and I'm also a licensed life insurance agent. A lot of people didn't realize that I've actually been a licensed life insurance agent for over 12 years now. So I decided that it's time to start talking about it. One of the most taboo topics, especially when it comes to the people of color and in the African American community, is that people don't like to talk about this sensitive topic. But I wanted to come on here today and just share some information with you. Okay. So 1 second here. All right. Some reason I am delayed whenever I go live on StreamYard. I don't know why. But if you guys can hear me, can you type something in the comments so that I know you can hear me? Hopefully you can. I don't know why, but sometimes the comments here are not on point. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I see a couple thumbs up. Okay. All right. So let's talk about it, guys. So, first, I just want to kind of talk to you about what is life insurance. I know it may seem like just a general question, and you're probably thinking, well, I know what life insurance is, but some people may not. So, the purpose of life insurance is it's something that pays the beneficiaries whenever you pass away. Okay. Notice I said when you pass away, not if, right? One thing is certain, we all have an expiration date, but we have no clue when that date is. Okay. So, what a life insurance policy does is it pays whoever you have delegated those funds to go to. And that money is usually given to them in a lump sum and it's typically income tax free. Okay. So the first thing I want to just kind of talk to you guys about is a few myths, okay? There are a lot of myths when it comes to life insurance. If you've heard of any myths or anything that you've heard to be true and found out later that it's not, type it in the chat for me. All right, so let's kind of talk about it. So, one of the most common misconceptions is that you have to be in excellent health. All right. That's a common myth. People believe that in order to get life insurance, they have to be in the best health. They have to be a certain weight. They can't have this going on or that going on. That is not true. Okay. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Also, another myth is that you don't need it until you're older. Not true, right? People are leaving this world at all ages, from babies to senior citizens. So we don't know, okay? Another myth is that the purpose of life insurance is to have just enough to bury you. That is the number one misconception, that it should be just enough to bury you, okay? Incorrect information. Not needed if you're single and if you don't have children. Another thing people say is it's too expensive. And then this is not as expensive as you think it is. It's actually very affordable. And then here's another thing. This is probably right up there with the other one. Okay. One of the top misconceptions about life insurance, and I want y'all to hear me and hear me well. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, hear me, right? One of the top misconceptions is that I have it through my job and I don't need it. I have it through my job and I don't need it. Let me tell you why that's not true, okay? And if you didn't know this, I'm going to school you right now. If you have life insurance through your job, if you leave that job, a lot of times if you retire from that job, even, your benefits don't go with you. So you guys who've been following me a while, you know I've been a school teacher. I was a school teacher for over 13, 14 years, right? When I was a school teacher, I probably had like a $250,000 policy or something with the school. However, I am no longer a teacher. And when I stopped teaching, my life insurance also stopped as well. So that's something you want to think about as well. If you ever leave that job, you do not have coverage in most cases, 90% of the time, right? So I do encourage you, if you don't have insurance outside of your place of employment, you definitely want to look into that, okay? All right, so so here are some things that we know whenever somebody doesn't have a life insurance policy. Those of you who know me, you know I lost my father August of 2021, right? We had life insurance. And that was one of the things. I put a policy on my parents several years, over 10 years ago. And they didn't want to have that discussion, right? Every time I would bring it up. In undergrad, I was a risk management and insurance major before switching over to business management major. And so when I was in undergrad, I'm like, hey, you guys need to get some life insurance. And they, Tiff, why are you trying to kill us off? Let's talk about something else. Can we change the subject? They never wanted to discuss life insurance. And if it were not for me being persistent, they would not have had insurance to this day. Okay. So it's definitely a taboo topic, but it is something that we want to make sure that we're talking about, because I know I'm not the only one. Have you guys ever gotten a request for GoFundMe? Someone has sent you a link for a GoFundMe because they're trying to bury someone. Let's be clear. I'm going to just say it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. Did everybody understand that? GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. GoFundMe is something that was created to collect money for different causes. Its purpose should not be to bury someone. If you are using GoFundMe, if anyone is using a GoFundMe, that basically says that I had a chance to get it together, but I didn't. And because I didn't get it together, now I'm going to beg people for money to bury me. Or my family is going to beg people for money to bury me because I didn't do what I was supposed to do when I was living. That's what GoFundMe is. And I'm just going to call a spade, right? You should not have to sell plates and t-shirts and all sorts of different things to bury you. You don't want to have to do that, right? And I know a lot of times it's hard to think about. You don't want to think about dying. You don't want to think about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to think about this. But let me tell you something. You guys know I do taxes, and I'm going to just be perfectly blank, upfront, point blank to it, right? I'm looking at my clients getting these maximum tax refunds, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $13,000, right? And I wonder, who has life insurance? So if you're getting refunds that are that size, that means you have dependents. What have you left for your children? I want you to really think about that. What have you left for your children? If something happens to you tomorrow, what have you left for your children? And if the answer is, I don't know, we need to fix it. If the answer is, I think they'll be all right, we need to fix it. If the answer is, grandma will take care of them, we need to fix it. Because right now you're still here. You still have a chance to correct anything that was wrong. As I just mentioned to you guys, my parents were in their 60s before I put life insurance on them. In their 60s. Okay? Had my father had life insurance at an earlier age, it could have been an even bigger policy. It could have provided even more for his family. Okay, so this is just something to think about. I told you guys, let's talk about it. Let's have a hard conversation. This is a conversation that should be going on in all homes. We've got to get out of that thing of not wanting to talk about death, because it's going to happen. And if anything, COVID taught us in 2020 and 2021, every day timeline, this person died, this person died, this person died. It's like, oh my gosh, it was depressing. It was depressing seeing so many people pass away. And half of them did not have life insurance, or over half probably, right? We just don't know about it in some cases. So let me tell you the purpose of life insurance. So the purpose of life insurance is to provide your burial, pay for your burial, pay the funeral home for any expenses. Something else that people don't think about when it comes to life insurance is the purpose of it is, if you have children, your life insurance policy should actually be enough to where whoever is taking care of your children after you pass away, they can live for a certain amount of time. Because your policy has afforded them the ability to pay for their bills, to take care of your children. Even if you want to set up a college fund, you can have enough insurance to set up your child's college fund. And when you're younger, you can get a ton of insurance for so cheap, so cheap, so cheap, right? So think about it that way. So here's something that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people think, okay, if something happens to me, I'm going to leave my children with my mom. Okay, well, mom is on a fixed income. Grandma might be on Social Security. Grandma may have a certain amount of money that she can spend every single month. Okay. So when you're adding your child to her now already tight budget, that's not fair. Okay. So just think about that. Also, it may be needed to keep up your current home. Maybe someone is a homeowner. And have you guys ever heard of when someone passes away, they lost the house because the family didn't have the money to pay for it? They lost the land because the family didn't have the money to pay for it. They didn't pay the property taxes because they didn't have the money to pay for it. So all of those are different reasons as well that you want to have life insurance. And like I said, I don't have any children. I have 0 kids, but I have life insurance. So even if you don't have children, you want to make sure that you put things in place for your family. So let's talk about the types of life insurance. We're going to just briefly talk about them. So the first type is a term policy. Usually, if you're working with your job, they're probably putting you on a term policy. So what a term policy is it's a temporary policy, right? So it may be a 10-year term, a 20-year term, a 30-year term, a 25-year term. That means that policy will expire after that amount of years. So, for example, if you're 25 and you purchase a 30-year term, when you turn 55 years old, that policy is now expired. But here's the thing about term. You're probably thinking, well, why do I want to get a term policy if it's going to expire? Okay, let me tell you why. Because you don't know when your last day will be. Okay, you're purchasing that policy at 25 that's going to carry you till you're 55. Something could happen to you at 40. Something could happen to you at 26. You don't know. But the thing about a term policy is it gives you a whole lot of insurance for a little bit of money. For example, you may be 23 years old and you can get a $400,000 insurance policy for $30 a month or something to that effect. Okay. So that's a term policy. Now, the other type of policy, which is my personal favorite, is called a term life policy with a return of premium. Now, let me tell you what this is. Now, this is the kind I have. Okay. So a term life with return of premium. So what this does, you get a term. Okay. So for example, let's just say use the same example. You're 25. And I'm just using 25 as an example. You can be any age. Well, depending on your age. But let's just say you're 25, right? You get a term policy for 30 years or even a 20-year term. Let's say 20-year. So you're 25, you get a 20-year term. At the end of 20 years, you will be 45. If you are still living at the end of your term, you get back all of your money. Did y'all hear what I said? You get back all of your money. So all of the money that you pay for your insurance, if you're still living at the end of that term, you get back all your money. If you're not living, of course, your beneficiaries will get the amount that you've left them. And by the way, a beneficiary does not have to be your children. I don't think I said that earlier. Your beneficiary is the person that you leave your life insurance money and your policy to. That can be anyone you choose. It can be a boyfriend, cousin, brother, sister, best friend. It can be anyone you choose. All right. So that is a term life with return of premium. Now, whole life, a lot of our older clients, depending, if you're a senior citizen, you may have a whole life policy. Whole life builds cash value. So basically, it pays a death benefit, but you can also take money off of it. If you come across hard times, you need to borrow against it. That's called a whole life policy. So it builds cash value and it pays a death benefit as well. Now, the other type, we'll go into this type on another live because it's very detailed, but it's called an IUL, Indexed Universal Life. Okay. Briefly, this policy can do a whole lot of things. You can use it to save up for retirement. You can use it to pay off your death benefit. You can borrow against it. You can basically use it as your own bank to borrow money from it. But we'll talk about that one later because that one will be here. That one I have to go into a lot more detail. And then there are different types of policies. So term and whole life are the main ones. But just know that there are policies that are called non-med. That means you don't have to do a medical exam. So a lot of people think if I have health problems, I can't get covered. Yes, you can. There are policies called non-med policies or guaranteed issue. Now, they may be a little higher, but you can still get covered. There are policies that cover people who even have cancer. Okay. One of the things I love about working with my company is that the Alliance, we work with over 60 different carriers. Okay. So it's not like working for a Primerica or someone like that where you only have one product. We work with over 60 different carriers like Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, American Amicable, uh, so many different carriers, right? So the ability to be able to work with all of these different carriers allows us the ability to find the perfect product for each individual person. Okay. So, all I'm going to say to you guys is this: I hope that you got something out of this. Um, as Marcus Igiobor would say, having a life insurance policy is like writing your last love letter to your family. Okay. So if you don't have one, please get with me. If you would like a free quote, no obligation whatsoever, I dropped my link in the chat. Okay. So if you would like a quote, now y'all know I don't do tax quotes, but I do insurance quotes. But if you would like a quote, I'm going to put this right down here. It should be there, but I'm going to put it again. So if you want a free quote, click that link. And then what I will do is you're going to give me some general information about the person you're wanting to get insured, whether it's your child, yourself, husband, wife, mother, grandmother. And then what I will do is I will I'll search through our 60 carriers, right? And I'll figure out which one is going to give you the best option. And then what I'll do is I'll follow up with you on a phone call and we can kind of go over what some possible options are. Okay. So if you are interested in a life insurance quote, to get some coverage and some protection from your family, please click that link. It takes you 2 minutes to fill it out, and I will definitely follow up with you. So I guess we can just see, I have about 2 minutes. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to look on my phone because sometimes my live is delayed. So, but if anybody has any questions, please type them in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like if you got something out of this. Oh, I see some comments. See, I'm not even seeing the comments here. I'm seeing them on my phone. So I apologize. All right. So, Karen, can you explain Universal Life? Yeah, that's the one that I said we'll have to go into more detail about that one. Sheila says you can use that tax money to pay for your life insurance up for a year. Yes, you can. And it is not as expensive as you guys think. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. Let's see what else I see. Okay. Yes. So there are so many different options. So many different options. I just encourage you guys, I know I'm not the only one that have gotten GoFundMe requests. And I'm not going to lie, when I get those requests, my skin just like, because it's something that could have been avoided, right? So right now, while you're physically able to watch this video, you're physically able to get that coverage available for your family. Don't leave your family like that. And like I said, we have so many different options. We have policies that can fit any budget. Okay, you tell me your budget, we'll make it work. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. Any other questions? Yeah, I don't know why this thing doesn't show my comments anymore on StreamYard. I might have to cancel this service. All right. So if that is it, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you like a quote, just click that little jot form link below and I'll make sure to get that information to you. Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you later. Bye.